Selling a house in Kansas City can be very exciting or very challenging or everything in between. The market in Kansas City is really all over the place right now. We have neighborhoods where we're still seeing multiple offers, waived inspections, waived appraisals, and then we have neighborhoods where we're seeing houses sit on market much longer than they have in quite some time. So there are a few mistakes that I'm seeing a lot of sellers making that are costing them money. And most of them are pretty easy to fix. Hi, I'm Rachel Kilmer. I'm a real estate agent based here in the KC Metro, licensed on both sides of the state line. And I love helping sellers make these small tweaks to maximize their profits when they go to sell, shorten the number of days on market, and lower your stress levels. You want those tips? All right, let's jump right in. The first mistake I'm seeing lots of sellers making in Kansas City right now is overpricing their home. Whatever you think market value is, back off of it a little bit and price below it. That's because the comps from 6 months ago, a year ago, especially 2 years ago, may not be an accurate reflection of what's going on in your neighborhood today. You are better served to price under and hope for lots of buzz, excitement, maybe even multiple offers to bring your price up, rather than pricing too high, scaring off buyers, and then having to sit, wait, and chase the market down. Overpricing your home is the number one mistake I'm seeing Kansas City sellers make right now. If you're wondering what your home is worth and what you should sell it for, which may be two different numbers, I would love to help you. Go ahead and comment, say, hey, I want to know what my house is worth, and I will reach out. The second mistake I'm seeing lots of home sellers making in Kansas City right now is neglecting repairs. And this is the little stuff. When you walk in your front door, if the first thing I do is grab a handrail that's loose, immediately I'm thinking they didn't take care of this house. What's wrong with this house? Did they service the HVAC? And I'm on alert, looking for every detail that could possibly be wrong. It's those little things that matter. Make sure that you fix if the front door deadbolt doesn't quite latch right. It's those little repairs that shouldn't cost you that much or take that long to fix that make a huge difference in the first impression that buyers have of your home. So my advice, go through your house, make a list of all of those little repairs that you've been putting off because they don't bother you, and hire a handyman to come knock them out in a couple of hours, and that will completely change the perception that buyers have of your home. The third mistake that I'm seeing a lot of sellers making is poor staging and poor presentation. Staging doesn't mean hiring a company to come move all your furniture out and put in a bunch of pretty white couches. Staging sometimes means working with what you have, using your own stuff, but staging it in a way that is more palatable and appealing to the buyers. Usually this looks like 30% less than what you have, sometimes more, sometimes it's like 50% less than what you have. The way we all live in our homes is not the way that they look in magazines, which is, not great, but that's the world we live in. And so if you want to sell your house, you're selling like an idea, you're selling a lifestyle. So you want to make your house look how buyers can picture themselves there. I actually have a staging checklist that I'd be happy to email to you. Just drop a comment and let me know if you want it. But it's really important that you work through that checklist and hit everything on there. I am really strict about this with my sellers, and they always kind of look at me cross-eyed when we have our staging appointment. They're like, are you kidding? I really have to do that? And then when we come back to take the photos and they see the photos, they go, wow, you were so right. I'm so glad you made me do that. I'm not just saying that. It's true, like every single time. So staging and presentation are a huge deal. This mistake goes hand in hand with the last one, but this is failing to create an inviting environment. And what I mean by that is you want your house to be somewhere that this buyer doesn't want to leave. They want to hang out here all day long. You want this to be the spot where they sit with their agent and have a 45-minute conversation, because then they can picture themselves in this home. Ways to do that. Make sure that all of your light bulbs match. Ideally, they're like daylight temperature, they're really bright, and certainly no flickering light bulbs, no light bulbs that don't work. Make sure they match, make sure you clean out the bugs out of the little, thingies. There's a word for that, thingies. Those things. A major thing that many home sellers forget about is setting your thermostat to an ideal temperature. I know you want to pinch pennies and have it on 78 when it's hot in the summer so that you're not spending money on running your AC, or have it on 65 in the winter so your furnace isn't running. But this is not the time for that. We want your home to feel nice, crisp, and cool in the summer, or warm and toasty in the winter, so that potential buyers come in and feel like they could hang out and stay there for a while. We want it to be really, really comfortable. So make sure you don't pinch pennies on your utility bills at a time such as this. Another huge thing you can do to create a more inviting environment is open up every single blind. I mean, all the way, open that sucker up. We want all the daylight flooding into your home we possibly can have. And I know it feels weird because it feels like a fishbowl, but trust me, just do it. If you have the time, bonus points for flipping on every light switch in your house before you leave. We want them to walk in and be like, wow, this place is so bright and comfortable and temperate. I mean it. Don't mess with your thermostat. Another thing that can be off-putting to buyers is odors. And a lot of times we don't smell what our own home smells like, if that makes sense. You know how you have like that friend and you walk in their house and you could smell it right now while I'm saying that. Every family like has their own smell. We don't smell it though. It's the same with odors in your home. So if you have pets, ask an honest family member to come over and say, hey, will you please tell me if my house smells like dog or not? Will you please tell me if my house smells like cat or not? And then if they're honest and say it does, go fix that. And by that, I do not mean putting a bunch of plug-in scent things in, turning on your Scentsies, lighting candles. No, that is just masking it. And that is even worse. When you walk in a home and you smell that like fake chemical smell of like lots of different scents, it's like, what are they trying to cover up here? So fix it at the core. That usually requires cleaning carpets. Sometimes painting walls helps, but really be aware of the odors in your home. On a smaller scale, if you cook bacon for breakfast the day of a showing, it's really overwhelming and distracting for a buyer. So think about what you're cooking in your home while it's actively on the market being shown. Another mistake I'm seeing a lot of home sellers make is inadequate marketing. And this means you must have professional photos of your house. Do you hear me? Professional photos only. If someone comes in your house, whether it's you or an agent with their iPhone shooting photos, no ma'am, you demand professional photos only. We live in an internet age, so that is like one of the most important pieces of your marketing is that you have high quality professional photos. It really helps you to have video content of your home, and of course, making sure that it is in MLS and being pushed out to all of the various real estate websites out there like Zillow, Realtor, Redfin, the list goes on and on. So what did I say? Professional photos only. Got it? Great. Another mistake I see home sellers making is not being flexible with showings. And what I mean by that is when your house is on the market and someone wants to see it, you need to be ready to drop everything and get out of there. Honestly, for a lot of people, the best way to do this is to move out before you even list it so that this is not a problem, and it solves a lot of these other problems as well. But make sure that you are flexible for showings. We want to bend over backwards to accommodate anytime the buyer wants to see your home. I see this a lot with people with young kids, busy families, or older people that aren't used to having to get up out of their house in the middle of the day for seemingly no reason. So make sure that you are prepared mentally, emotionally, and logistically for getting out of the house quickly and making sure you're leaving it behind in showing shape. The last mistake I see a lot of home sellers making, especially in Kansas City, is ignoring the local market. And by local market, I don't mean the Kansas City metro. I mean your literal subdivision or your literal 4-block radius. Because what's selling in the next subdivision over is not the same as what's selling in your subdivision. There are such small nuances from street to street, from neighborhood to neighborhood that make the difference. And if you're pointing at a neighbor that's a half a mile down, wondering why their house sold for $20,000 more than yours, that's not doing yourself a service at all. Really focus on your local market, what's happening on your street within, the 30 houses around you, and that will serve you well for setting expectations for what your selling process will be like. If you avoid all of these pitfalls, you are setting yourself up for success. You are setting yourself up for making the most money off the sale of your home, doing it as fast as possible and as low stress as possible as well. I would love to walk you through this process. Again, my name is Rachel Kilmer. I'm licensed on both sides of the state lot line, and I can't wait to talk to you about your thermostat and selling your house. Until then, I'll be here on YouTube giving you the scoop on all things Kansas City. See you next time.